I was saying before that if I see something that don't seem right, I look into it. I always have done. I've never listened to someone's opinion about a person or anything else. I've always looked into stuff because why wouldn't you? Like everything, I'm just interested, not because I wanted to like uncover a secret or nothing, just because it was interesting. Do you know what I mean? Whatever it was, like everything, history, all that sort of stuff. It's interesting, technology. But what they do is they give us like we've got instead of an ether here, an ether, we they give us shit like internet and an IoT. What's that? Internet of Things. When you've got things, you know, when your watch talks to the fridge, that talks to the lights, that talk, yeah. So that IoT stuff. That mirror's annoying me there. Let me turn that a little bit there. Yeah, that IoT stuff is like how you would use the ether back home, but yourself with your own mind. The Internet of Things, like I said before, what Christian was saying. You Google things in your head. Anything you need to know comes to you as you need to know it. Everything you need to understand, you understand immediately. Whether that's another language or another frequency of another being, should I say, like a bird or a whatever. You communicate by a frequency. You tune in like a radio to that bird's thoughts, and then you communicate that way. It's quicker and easier. That's how it's all done back home, you know. And like people don't realise the set of sieves that you got to get through to get back home. They're quite easy, really. They are religion, finance, perceived knowledge. That makes so much sense on its own. I've said it before, but it does. You know, you think about it, that makes complete sense, because they are the things that are going to stop you going to somewhere where love and empathy is required. Because wanting money, well, then someone's got less of it or more of it than you have. Obviously, because everything's got an amount, isn't it? You know, you've got whatever, then someone will have more of it or less of it. You know, you can't keep going around halving your gold just to make sure everyone's got exactly the same amount, so no one gets paranoid and worried if they've lost a little tiny bit in a transaction. You know, so there's no currency, there's no form of barter. Well, you know, you do things for people, but you don't need to get paid for it. There's no shops or anywhere to spend it. You don't have bills or taxes or roads to pave. You know, there isn't any roads, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing like that. It's totally different, and people ain't getting that. Definitely not. No one can be expected to, and they're definitely not going to get it if they ain't saying Christian. If they don't know who Christian is and they haven't listened to him and they ain't read nothing about it, then they you know where they're going. And obviously that's not by accident. That's obviously by design as well. Because do you know what I mean? If he was on BBC One, there'd be, you know, everyone that ain't obviously going nowhere would no need to see it, would they? They wouldn't have a need to with their current mindset. They know all that. We're in Looking Glass. It's a simulation. There isn't nothing by chance. Like Christian says, if you break your arm, it's not an accident. It's in the simulation code. That sounds far out. That took me a fucking moment or two to wrap my head around it, I'll be honest with you. But I'll tell you what, listen, right, I remember years ago, in the 80s, I heard this geezer. He was on some documentary in like 1986 or 87 or something stupid long ago like that. And he was talking about, this, right, with David Icke level knowledge on it, right? And now knowing the new information, what Christian brought along with, you can see that geezer didn't just think that. That's not something you would think. He knew exactly all about it. I remember it well, because I was thinking he's off his fucking head. How on earth would you even think that? Why would you even come up with that? And not long after that was the first Star Trek episode I saw that kind of had that in it. That was the feature where they put a civilization in a box. Yeah? No, it was after 86. It wasn't. That was way after. That was in the 90s. Some point in the 90s. Don't matter. Yeah, early 90s. But he was talking about this in an interview on some documentary, like in his house or something, sitting at a table, proper old, you know, not an old, but old, you know, old shirt and tie, proper like 70s, 80s dressed. I think that's why I associated it with that type, like an old professory type geezer. And he was talking about how we live in a simulation and all about it. And now thinking back on that, that's fucking mad, because he's probably a bloodline family member who's been. They've got to tell you. So they're probably like David Icke. He's probably a 33rd degree Mason. They've got him on board. Said, listen, go and tell him the truth just about that simulation bit. You've got to, because we ain't mentioned that for a while. So go and tell him, and everyone just hears it immediately and thinks he's off his fucking head. Like anyone watching this probably at the moment thinks the same. But that's how it's got to be. It's meant to be like that because you're not meant to know none of this till now. There's no point knowing none of this till now because it'll cause a reset. Anyone found out about any of this information now that Christians come along with would cause another reset. And your soul family are well aware of that. Everyone out there is well aware of that. And they don't want that to happen because that's just then another early... And it couldn't happen now. It's too late. But it could have happened if the information wasn't out. Sorry, if the information was out before 2022, for instance. September. You know, because people found this out before. Like the Draco have killed loads of their own people on purpose because they happen to be somewhere and a positive fifth density being come in. That's what the earthquakes are. So the earthquakes are like an early warning thing. So when a fifth density being comes into this third density environment, wherever that is in the realm, it will trigger an earthquake. So that they hopefully get killed in the fucking landslide or whatever. And to notify everyone in the area. And if Draco and that are working in the area, doing whatever they happen to be doing, they all get killed as well. They don't give a shit. And they give a toss about their own people. They're totally expendable. Like Christian was saying, if the Draco needed a portal opened and they needed Loosh to do it, and someone said go and get your mum to a Draco, they wouldn't think twice. They just go and get their mum, open her up, and open the portal up. They wouldn't think twice about it. They've got no emotion. They couldn't give a fuck. It's outrageous what people don't realise. It's fucking far out what they don't realise, what's happened and where we live. I mean, that's just far out as fuck, to be honest. You can't expect people to get their head around that, you know. People kicking and screaming. I'm not even replying to anything globe related now, because fuck that. I'll tell you what, it's crazy. The people just, you know, they're beyond help at the moment. That they've got to get on with their own shit. If you, you know what I mean? It's fucking mad. So what am I going to put here? Yeah, it's really easy, right? The whole thing is really easy. There's nothing complicated about it, but it's the programming. It's the programming that we learnt at school, that we believe in, that made us, defines us and makes us who we are. That's what is the problem. And then it's the problem having to constantly be in fear all the time about your future and your future of your children, that everyone's so locked into this money thing and they've got to make sure their property values, this, that, the other, keep that painted, you know what I mean? It's all part of all of it. It's the whole thing. Even sitting at a wedding, eating with the fucking knives and forks from the outside in. Inside, yeah, all that is pointless bollocks. It's just every single part of it. You see how tightly it is together, everything. The fact, you know, all of it. It is so big. It's vast, thinking about it, you know. And it's not long away now, is it? You know what I mean? So like that whole thing with Greece, when that whole Euclidean geometry and that geometry was invented by Kevin fucking Middleton or whatever his name was. You know what I mean? People find out that, you know, it's just fucking, it's going to shake the world apart, isn't it? You know. Unfortunately, it's got to happen because well, this can't ever happen again. You know, like Christian says, this can't ever happen again. It ain't ever going to. But they've got to properly make sure that everyone's soul, on a soul level, don't forget this. You know, and I'm so grateful for the info because I am not going to be shitting myself. And people think, all my mates think I'm mad, I'll be honest with you. I think they all think I'm nuts. There's so few people that can see this but it's so fucking easy. The thing is, it's so easy. I swear, I haven't watched nothing for 2 years now. Since I started watching Christian, I ain't watched nothing. I ain't watched a single person. Someone may send me, I get a lot of clips sent, I don't watch none of them. Sometimes, maybe, possibly. I'm on some groups and I always look at those. But when I get random things, I don't often look because there's too many. And I don't want to see it because what is it? Normally, it's some crypto bollocks or some other mad shit like that, you know. People aren't realising that there's no money. There's no money. People aren't, that's what it is. People ain't asking the right questions. They're not asking things like what is 3D to 5D. Now, everyone that's waiting for a QFS token want to fucking ask that question first. Because they all going, yeah, sweet, whatever, we're going 3D to 5D, yeah, put my name down for that. Yeah, book me in twice for that, and I'll have tier 1, 2, and 3 redemption bonds. Sweet, bro. No, it's nothing to do with that. That's just red herrings being thrown out that are part of the filter to stop people that shouldn't be ascending. Because when you land where you're going to land, if you was to come back here in a fifth density realm, then, and you come back here with an attitude of where's my fucking crypto? I thought I was getting my tier 3. That ain't going to happen. Sorry, I'm just trying to turn that on. That ain't going to happen. You can't have, you know, you can't be sitting there in fifth density with all your soul family thinking, yeah, it's nice to see you again, just getting your memories back, thinking, but where's my Ferrari? You know, because then your negative feelings will interact with the ether, and that creates your environment, and then everyone else starts getting poorly and pissed off and depressed, because that's feeding in your anger or your negativity or your resentment or your guilt or your greed or your gluttony or whatever it is, whatever they are, that will stop you. That's why they got the 7 deadly sins, because that's where you ain't going. That's why if you're doing all them 7 deadly sins, then it's a exit to fifth density. That's why they have them in the Bible. There's a little bit of truth in everything, but most of it's bullshit. In fact, over 99% of it is absolute bullshit. A little tiny bit of truth in it. I used to think that the first 5 books of the Bible were like real, because when I was looking at history before, through my whole life previously, I was looking for the oldest source, therefore it must be the most accurate. That was my thinking. But no, not at all, because there isn't an oldest source. It weren't just Greece they done that with, ancient Greece, and lied about that. It was everything in history. Everything. None of it is true. None of it. People can't wrap their heads around how come none of it is true. There's nothing fucking true about none of it. Tiny, tiny bit. But there's so much bullshit because they just need to explain away the last reset. They ran into a problem when they realised in the fucking 70s that they couldn't explain 800 years in Europe. Oh fuck, what do we say? Well, we call it the Dark Ages, or where was that? That was in Europe when it was that, not in the same time period though. But that's why the Dark Ages were the Dark Ages, because it was just a reset, or the end of one, or whatever, or halfway through one. Just a different reset. We can only we see buildings in that are more older than one reset back, but we don't see anything much else really. Not from 2 resets ago, 3 resets ago. Maybe some shit in tombs that might turn up, but like I say, when they always make sure that they take all that anyway. There ain't going to be nothing ever found publicly authorised, publicly given away. That's the whole point of it. You're not supposed to know the truth. They're not going to tell you they found technology here, there, and everywhere. That's the whole point. You're not meant to know that. You're meant to live in fear, hoping that the positive ETs are actually out there somewhere, and hopefully they're here, and that's who our gods were. That's what people are meant to think. Yeah, could be negative. Hopefully they're positive. Don't really know. They just needed a lot of sacrifice for some strange reason that Christian information nails as adrenochrome. That's the only reason we're here, is for adrenochrome. It's the only reason we have a history. It's the only reason we wear trainers. It's the fucking reason for everything. It's the reason that the fucking sun isn't 93 million miles away. I posted them the sun in a cloud video yesterday. I think, yeah, that was the one I got banned for. Well, not banned, but I had it muted or taken down or whatever, I don't know. But for some fucking copyright violation of a music track. How fucking ridiculous can you get? Do you know what I mean? Talking about harvesting children's blood, and they're worried about fucking violating some silly fucking adrenochrome drinking fucking junkies tune that they made fucking 10 years ago. I don't understand it, man. You know what I mean? And yeah, the other thing I was saying before was about the Mayan calendar and how come they needed to count 63 billion years into the future. That was just absurd, They had things like 1 Acton, 1 Calebton, 1 Kitchelton, 1 Kinchleton, and they counted in like a uni or a rye, and all these little bits made a bigger bit, and then bigger bits made a bigger bit, and then they had this big wheel that was the galaxy. All that whole fucking Mayan calendar thing, all bullshit. The whole fucking thing's bullshit, and they knew it when they made it, and they made it for now. Like the Piri-Reis maps. And the maps, the Orontius Phineas map, the Mercator projection, and there's several, 8 or 9 maps that show an accurate coastline of Antarctica. That's the whole fucking point. That's why the maps were made. They were fucking shit fake maps drawn on purpose to go, look, well, we must have known somehow. See that, and once again, that has another multiple reasons for doing that. It's not just one reason. The devil has many negative outcomes for every decision he makes, like that movie said, The Sandman I was on about. But what they do, see, that would have served the purpose to prove that, oh, it must be a globe, because if they knew it was a globe back then, no, they didn't. They were all fake maps. That Piri-Reis map, it's not drawn recently. It was drawn fucking ages ago because they got Looking Glass. They've had Looking Glass since they turned up. They call it something else, obviously, but it's not time travel. Like I said before, don't want to bore anyone. But if you've got Looking Glass, you know what's going to happen. There's no surprises. There's totally no surprises. And I wouldn't mind assuming, I guess it would make sense that we're all hooked up to that in some way. Probably Christian will know. Back home, probably through the ether. You're probably all hooked up to Looking Glass all the time. Probably are, I reckon. I don't know. That's a question for Christian. Yeah. But yeah, so it's just fucking, yeah, it's outrageous. It's totally outrageous what has transpired, and people are they're gonna struggle with one thing. They're going to struggle with one thing, getting their heads around one single aspect, you know. And all the achievements of all the famous people of all of time are just based on previous resets. No one really done anything. Bill Gates didn't invent nothing. Elon Musk, thick as shit, just some adrenochrome crackhead. It's all a movie. Everything's a movie. The whole fucking lot. You know, even the dog food's poison. Everything's poison because the quicker you die, they get access to your STKV bond. Basically, if they ain't got adrenochrome out of you by the time or an organ or two, or your arm or whatever, you're not that you were, you know, there's organs only. They just fucking, that's just body parts, isn't it? That's what ends up in McDonald's. People are gonna fucking trip out, you know. Oh dear, that's fucked, isn't it? You know, and the fucking chicken McNuggets are cooked in that, what's that oil called? They make contact lenses with it. It's that plastic oil. That's what chicken McNuggets are fucking made of. Some plastic oil that they make contact lenses with. See, that's the revealing of that which was previously obscure. The apocalypse. People are not getting this, and religious people, which is quite a lot of people, really should understand this, because it's fucking obvious if you're religious, you know. Most religions talk about a rapture, a fucking ascension, or whatever, the end of the world, whatever, and everyone agrees that it's going on now, and everyone's still looking about. They can't see the fucking wood for the trees. Jesus Christ, man! You're standing in a log cabin and in a forest, and you want to go to the shop to buy some firewood because you can't find any. What the fuck? Mental. I don't know if it's consensus blindness, where kind of everyone's like Safe and Effective was, like, you know, Safe and Effective was some sort of magical force field. That, what the fuck was that all about? Maybe this is the same thing. It's just fucking far out. It's that weird, like, almost like sheep telepathy or something, like some fuck knows. I'll tell you what, it's soul destroying, really. You know what I mean? There's no need for it. And when people are taking their kids to get their kids vaccinated, I mean, there's people panicking to fuck now, I get, about the fucking monkeypox. No one can actually believe it. Not for real, can they? You know, some, maybe very few people. But people can't generally believe that. It's absolute bullshit. Yeah, the other thing I was saying before as well, I didn't finish talking about, was the when you get back home, and you won't wake up in black and white, because they switched that bit round at the end, because really you would have been in colour. Technically, they want to show off their colour capabilities, don't they? So they're not going to make the beginning and the end in colour and the main film in black and white. They're going to make, yeah. So, but at the end it flips back to black and white, and she wakes up in bed with Sandman, Strawman, Tiger Boy, whatever, and they're all her real family that she was with in this life, and all the people that you've been with in this life as well, people that you've met, some people that you'd have fell out with probably as well, because humans are a fucking strange bunch, but the people that you've been with in this loop, maybe the last loop as well, who knows, maybe the couple before, they're when the positives took Looking Glass back off of the negatives, whenever that was, I think 30 odd years ago, Christian said. But they then created a positive outcome for everyone. So everyone will probably be in close proximity to their twin flame when this happens. Not coincidentally, nothing is. There's no coincidences. There isn't one. And now I totally understand that as well, because if it's a fucking simulation and you've got things like Looking Glass, where you can program multiple outcomes from multiple people, depending on certain things, and that certain things will happen in that person's life, regardless of what they do, certain things will happen, but the rest is your free will. And all the it is deep. I'll tell you what, it's proper deep, man. And it would make sense that it was a simulation. Don't know. It would make sense that it was, you know, because that's, well, it's beyond us, because we're in, like I say about Stickman, when you got a sheet of A4 and you draw a Stickman on it, and he can only look front and back. If he looks out the side of the paper, he's looking out the edge, isn't he? You know, you can't. Your field of view is only as wide as that. You haven't got that field of view looking out the front or the back. So if you move your hand past Stickman's sideways view, yeah, he can't see your hand. He can only see half a mil of it at any one time. So he can see 5 pink things, or 4 pink things, then a 5th pink thing being your thumb, then a pink mass, and then like your arm. He won't see that as a fully formed hand, because he's on a different dimension. And that's kind of like the best explanation I've heard, it ain't mine, I heard someone else say it last year or something, was the best explanation I've heard, because that's, you can't imagine things outside of your density, your dimension or your paradigm. It's really hard to envisage that, really hard, because we haven't got any handrails for that. There's no thoughts about that, and that's why a lot of people are struggling with the information, because everyone wants proof. We've been taught and bred to need proof that has to come from somebody else. It's never go off and find out what you think of that, or take that to bits with a screwdriver. That's another thing I used to do. I used to be like, what they call them? I used to take things to bits, like everything, and find out how it worked. Much to my parents' dismay, another Hoover and a telly opened up. But yeah, so but you can't be looking to other people for information and knowledge and understanding. You've got to go through these things yourself. Your little blue light's got to experience that. Yeah, whatever it is. You ain't gonna get no knowledge if you don't do that yourself. Listening to other people, which is what we've been taught to do at schools and colleges and universities. All the people that wrote all the instruction manuals for all of everything were all 33rd degree Masons, and they were all part of the ultimately long planned agenda. The agenda's reset to reset. The agenda's the same, adrenochrome. And so, like this time we had a fiat currency system. I don't think we had money before in previous resets. It was only brought out on the like the last reset or halfway through it when the Knights Templar. Yeah, it was we didn't have money in the resets before that, so they must have found another way to harvest adrenochrome. But when you've got a bunch of ancient demons running the show, and they're the second most knowledge beings in the universe after source creation, it's not that difficult to work out that they've got this sewn up. They know exactly what's going on. No wonder the negatives tried it a few times before and it didn't work, because they're shit at it and they're fourth density. But the demons, they're ancient as fuck. So they've got a lot of experience and they know exactly how to pull the wool over anything size. And they found the perfect way. And then they created the perfect being. And then they were just loving it, because demons are all about that. Look at all the people on telly, all the pointless celebrities, like all of them. All of the ones that love themselves so badly. Proper demons. That's a demon. I didn't know nothing about demons fucking 2-3 years ago, whenever it was. Didn't know a fucking thing about it. And now I'm a fucking bit of a demon expert. Do you know what I mean? But you can see it when you got the information. It's not as complicated as you think. It's like, it's not that complicated. It's just totally different. It's totally alien, yeah? It's just different, that's all. But it makes a whole lot more fucking sense than anything else. And all this bullshit religion bollocks. Fucking always wanted to know that. Was my first question. Why does fucking we have one god and them in Egypt have all them 200 gods? And then I found out about all the others and I'm like, what on earth is going on? I was only 4.5. I just got fascinated at that age. I'm like, well, that's mad. Why would they all think that and we think that? Fucking hell. And I know now. I'm so grateful for that as well. I love you, Christian, for that, bro. And the peace of mind aspect is mental. It's mental. I've never been so fucking chilled out in my life. You know what I mean? I'm not even bothered. I said to someone today, I wouldn't even give a shit if I died. I wouldn't, at the moment, it wouldn't bother me, I don't think. I probably would have to come back, but I'll be like, nah, you're having a laugh, ain't you? Fuck off. I've only got a few weeks left. I'll go and put the kettle on for Christian. Do you know what I mean? Fuck that. Go and get born again down here. No, you're right. I don't think there's a way around that, though, is there? So, but I'm not going to die in a minute or whatever, obviously. But I'm just saying, I didn't. When I used to be scared shitless of dying. When I had meningitis when I was 5, I didn't want to die. That's the last thing I wanted to do. And I remember hearing my granddad went on an iron lung in the 60s or whatever, and I was terrified of going on a machine. And I just associated an iron lung with going to hospital. In my head, I was only fucking 5, 4.5, 5. Yeah, 5. 1976 it was, and I nearly died a few times. That was terrible illness. That was fucked. I nearly died, and it was horrible. Meningitis, you don't want that. I had some mad hallucinations that I still remember now vividly, as if they were. I can remember them now, all of them. Mental, really unusual. But I assumed I was going to die. So anything after that, and I had what did I have when I was 15? Typhoid in South America. I got typhoid. I nearly died a couple of times then. I wanted to die a couple of times then as well. I would have been happy to have done myself in with a shotgun back then, to be honest. I was in a bad way. That was really bad. So anything after that, I've been in a good mood since then, really. I mean, I remember thinking when I was like 16, do you know what? If I die now, I'm that bothered. I've had a good innings. Most people don't get to 16. I'm lucky I was born in England. I had that mindset from that age. From younger than that, I was just grateful to be alive after the age of, well, even before 15, but let's just say around that time. So, but then I was still worried about dying. I didn't realise till I was 21 and I left my body accidentally on way too much ketamine hydrochloride. Fuck me, I've done way too much accidentally. I'd been used to it, but I'd done it for a long, long time, 2 or 3 years. And you only need little tiny lines like that. And I'd done 2 fuck off lines like that and left my body. I was catapulted out, like big time. And then I knew that you didn't die, and I remember what happened when I was out there. That was a bit weird. I'll go into that another time maybe. I told Christian about it, but I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. But I said what I thought. Well, I might as well tell you because I look like a prick if I don't. I saw what I thought. When I left my body, I was propped up on a little GDC round his house, man. Fucking hell, that was mad. That was mad, mate. That changed my life, George. That did. That fucking day changed my life, mate, forever. 1994, that was, wasn't it? Anyway, I got catapulted out that way. I was wedged up on a little milking stool with my head propped like that in my hands, and I could see what looked like strip lights. And I thought, half a second later, I thought, wow, they must be stars. And I've really, because I was going quickly that way, don't know, but up that way, really quick. And I thought I saw stars. I thought they were stars. And then I hit this pastel green room a few seconds later. And I'm like, wow. And there was like all pastel green smoke about. I've told my pals this. I think they thought I was nuts at the time, but they probably still do now anyway, or more so. But everything was pastel green. And I looked over to the left and there was some adolescent pastel green children with like Roman laurels wearing it on their head. Their hair was kind of green, like the green, I didn't know about the green children of Woolpit until years after this. And that tripped me out. I'm like, what the fuck? You heard of the green children of Woolpit in Woolpit in Suffolk? Fucking hell, in the 1800s, 1840s, the story goes that 2 green children, it's well documented, 2 green children turned up in a village in Woolpit. And they apparently heard a church bell. They were green, yeah, and wearing different clothes. And they rocked up in this village and everyone was like, wow, green kids. And they didn't know how to get home. And the villagers were like, what the fuck are you? Where are you from? And they couldn't speak or nothing. But after a few years, they stayed there. One of them died. It was a boy and a girl. And they would only eat these beans. And they said they come from the land of Prester John. And, see, Prester John is an Ethiopian. Was it? Have I got that wrong? Because the land of Prester John was in Ethiopia. Have I just made that up in my head, Prester John? The children said they came from... No, it was the land of Prester John. There's also an Ethiopian from the that church in the Temple of St. Mary in Axum, Ethiopia, have where the Ark was meant to have been stored, but it probably isn't or wasn't, and Graham Hancock wrote a load about it and all that. The land of Prester John was a place in Ethiopia because the Ark went from Egypt to Ethiopia, so the story goes, and ended up going from there to Scotland, which is when the Knights Templar took all of the other stuff along with it into hiding in Scotland, and that's when the name that's when the name church come from. So apparently we just found out that ancient Greece didn't exist, but apparently, so the story goes, maybe that's only the Roman part of it is true, or maybe that ain't even true either. But the word for church, it comes from the Roman word for church, which is a Circe. Mother Circe was a goddess, and that come from the ancient Greek, which apparently now we know didn't exist anyway. Come from the Greek word Circe. So Mother Circe became Mother Circe, Mother Circe became Mother Circe, that became Mother Kirk when it got to Scotland, and that was the Kirk was the Scottish name for church. So our word for church was an ancient fucking deity who poisoned the minds of the people that come through the door, men in particular, and made them think crazy shit, turned their mind sour with lies. That's what Mother Church did to the people that walked it. So even things like that, little tiny things, seemingly insignificant little things woven into history eons ago, that are, well, they're all relevant now. They're all the revelations of the apocalypse. That is what the apocalypse is. It's the revealing of that which was previously obscured. And that's everything that's going on now. And it's all about adrenochrome. It ain't about nothing but adrenochrome. It's only about adrenochrome. And everything we've done in our lives, everywhere we've been, wanted to go, what we saw, where we went, how we got there, what we did when we come back, what we spoke about, what we were wearing when we spoke about it. Everything. It's like a thick soup. It's almost like an invisible soup. We're sitting in this soup of invisibility. It's fucking mad. Because all of this is everything I'm looking at in here now. Everything is all part of the obfuscation of adrenochrome and fifth density. That's the whole point, is so you never think about adrenochrome or fifth density. Everything The fact that we're even sitting here now discussing this is also part of it. It's fucking mad, you know? And what people are going to do when they find out that Donald Trump was the Antichrist? Ain't going to go down well, is it? Fucking hell, man. Do you know how deep it is? Even the conspiracy theories were mostly had some truth in. A lot of them were just blatant truth. But, like, even you've got the little spin-offs, you know? You've got all the different reasons Kennedy was assassinated and who might have done it. So, and you've got very feasible versions of a lot of those. And you think, well, it's got a bit of truth in it. But it was William Greer, he was the driver, and he'd done that with a gun, didn't he? Blew his head off. But it turned out that he didn't. And that was hologram technology under the chin and hairline. That was Kennedy in the motor, and the whole thing was an Andromedan outfit, I think Christian said. The whole thing was an Andromedan gig set up totally. No one got hurt. Everything's sweet. And they even made up the story about the seeing enemy in the bullet that poisoned his brain. That's why he had to take his brain out. And all this mad shit, and filing hospital reports that they took his brain out. And all sorts of mad shit. Wow, it's deep. The lies are deep. You've got to cut them with a samurai sword. The lies, you've just got to cut them. It's fucking far out, man. People are going to struggle when this happens, you know. But ultimately, there's nothing to worry about. Even if, you know, the only thing is people ain't going to have no crypto and no currency and none of that. And that's a good thing. You don't want to be depressed about that. That's a good thing. Don't want fucking currency. What do you want to go shopping for? You make shit at home. You know what I mean? If you need something new, just go and ask for it. If you can't do it yourself, you get someone to help you. You don't have to worry about nothing. If anything, you might want less land than you're gonna get. Probably want a smaller house. You'd be like, fuck me, how am I going to live in that Tartarian mansion? You know what I mean? You'd be wanting less room. If anything, you know, people don't realise because we're so used to having to fight for everything and get what we need and keep it because we might never get the opportunity to get it again. I've never been like that either with money. I've never given a shit about money. I used to get moaned at by my parents, didn't I, Mum? When I was 12, she used to moan at me for spending money on penknives. She said, I quote unquote, I've got no value of the concept of money. And I didn't, to be honest. I thought back then it's just a worthless bit of paper with some bird's head on it. I can get a penknife with that. That's like 12 quid. I can get a penknife with it. Come on, it's a no-brainer. What the fuck do I want that for? What am I going to do with it? You know, in India, you wipe your ass on something like that. But, you know, the whole money system is totally fake. You know, so having your watch that connects to your fridge, that connects to your telly, that connects to your fucking daughter's implanted chip in the side of her head so you know where she is all the time, it's all part of the scam. Technology we don't invent technology, we were given it. We swap children for technology. And Kafkas and social services help get those children into the system that we end up swapping for technology and advancements. That's all it is. There ain't nothing else. That's what backs the stock market. Adrenochrome. Child sacrifice. Backs the stock market. That's all. I got some gold as well, it's alright. They've oversold that and oversold silver. It's all fucked. The gold that they took out the tunnels, like Christian says, they've sprayed it in the air. So you think about it, right? If you've got 3 realms on like some dartboard shape, 3 firmaments, the fake one that they put in, stop us getting out. Yeah, if you've got 3 of them and realm 2 and 3, realm 1 and 2, perfectly pure air, totally clean and lovely air. They've got their giant trees still. They ain't had them cut down. They've got 60% oxygen content in their air. Do you know what I mean? When they drop this firmament, even if it's for a very brief time, our polluted shit is just going to get the whole point of a firmament. You see, that's how you keep your air in. This is why the globies, I can't work out how they can't get this. You cannot have a gas next to a vacuum without a physical barrier. It can't be an imaginary barrier. It has to be a physical barrier. That's how come you get aerosol cans. Because if you didn't, you'd just have a fucking plunger, wouldn't you? Because it would be... you have to have it contained. Otherwise, it's in the air with you. Breathing WD-40 or whatever, you've got to have it in a can, a physical barrier. So how do you keep the oxygen on the planet without a physical barrier? Well, it's about Van Allen belts, isn't it? They're the 3 firmaments. We only need 1. I don't want to go and bore you. But, what was I saying? I don't know, but the lie's deep. The lie's fucking well deep, you know. And like I say, they have to show you everything. Everything is shown in plain sight. Even the mythical creatures and the Blemye and the Panotti and the cynocephaly. St. Christopher, for instance, was a cynocephaly. I mean, St. Christopher didn't exist. It's a totally fictitious character. But the original character of St. Christopher, as you can see in the artwork, is a dog-headed being. with the it wasn't anything to do like that whole pit of Christianity. That was all made up. Or whatever the stories are, it didn't happen. Or what all the parables happened somewhere else. It's not even related to some of it to this realm. So, but St. Christopher, so they have to show you some truth. So you get the old storybooks and the children's storybooks where they show you the truth, because we didn't have telly in the old days, did we? There was no TV and, like cinema and that until like 1900, 1910. So they would show you the truth in storybooks that would get handed down. The story of Chicken Little, this, that, the other, all of them. I saw today in a storybook online, a really old storybook about some bloke putting his arm through a portal. Clearly a portal, because his arm disappeared the other side of it. There was some weird goblin thing standing next to it. All real. All real. People were going to struggle with that when they realised that everything that they thought was real isn't real. And everything that is fictional and made up and fantasy and sci-fi, that's all real. It's all there's more truth in that than there is in what they tell us is reality. There's more truth in a Stargate SG-1 episode than there is in the Smithsonian, in all of their museums put together. And that's a fact. That's a fact. One episode of Stargate SG-1 or Star Trek, they show you all this stuff. And no, it's not for alien disclosure. None of that fucking SG-1. People think, and it would be obvious to assume, see, they get you assuming the wrong thing. On purpose. It says there, doesn't it? We'll control all aspects of their lives and tell them what to think and how. The Rothschild Secret Covenant, point 34, just happens to be the one I've got on the screen. So you're led to assume that it must be something to do with alien disclosure, ET disclosure. Star Trek, Star Wars, they're telling people, showing people that what's coming in the future. No. We'd all have been dead by now. The future, we wouldn't have had one. We'd have died in 2017 to 19. We'd already be in FEMA camps or dead, permanently exterminated, all your kids eaten or pregnant, basically, if that was going to happen. But all the Stargate stuff and things like that is showing you. It's part of the in plain sight. Like David Wilcox. What's his name? What's old matey? Eric von Daniken. Eric von Daniken. See, he probably wrote a book, got into it, and they approached him. Sucked him in. 33rd degree Mason, now you're on board, we'll tell you a bit of truth, we'll tell you the Earth's flat, we'll tell you about the ETs, put your mind at rest. You was onto something, and well done. Or he could have been a bloodline himself, who knows? We won't ever get to find that out. We probably will one day. We definitely will one day if we want to know, because at the Law of One, we know everything we want to know when we want to know it. So we will know everything. There won't be anything we don't know if we want to know it when we get home. People can't wrap their head around that as well. Imagine that. You know everything. We all knew everything before this happened. And the other things as well, like the Blemye and the Panotti, they were all beings that were created in previous resets just to experiment around. Remember, they're just fucking around. They want to get the ideal vessel to put adrenochrome in to produce the most adrenochrome per size of unit. Yeah, then it makes sense. You have a little testing phase, don't you? They didn't just start building a Bugatti Veyron. They went through a load of different cars before they got to that. So, not that this is the Bugatti Veyron. It's a shit body, but it produces a decent amount of adrenochrome per child. So that's why we're in these. And the whole race thing, the Caribbean. There's a realm called Caribbean or Caribbee. Yeah, Caribbee, and they are black, and that's the Caribbean black. It's everything that we've got here. We've got out there. Like the Game of Thrones and all that. It was a Game of Thrones for them. That's all it was. Just a laugh, and quids in all the time. It's like finding the back door of Tesco's open forever for 6,015 years, and you don't run out of food. Tesco's shut for 6,015 years, and someone left the back door open, and it never runs out of food. That's what this was. That's all we were. People got to realise that we weren't here for no special reason. We weren't here bettering ourselves for the time when the sun goes supernova and blows up and takes us with it. All very feasible. Sounds very feasible, as it always does. But it leaves you've got to admit, you've had loads of questions about even the eclipse. Not the eclipse, the phases of the moon. I used to ask when I was a kid, why is the sun there and the moon there and we're not in the middle, but there's an eclipse? No one can answer that. That's why. It's not what causes it. Not eclipse, sorry, the phases of the moon. It's not what causes the phases of the fucking moon. It's just the morning star, Venus. Oh, and coincidentally, that happens to be the light of Lucifer, the torchbearer. Do you know what I mean? It's so easy to see. Do you know, I just done that in my head just then. I never thought about that before. The morning star was Lucifer's other name. The light bearer. He's shining the light on the fucking moon, isn't he? Yeah? Think about it. It's the sort of thing you can work out. Like, yeah, that's an example of what I mean. I never thought about that before till just then, and that's just obvious. Look, that's why he's called, the whole, yeah, the talk, yeah, you get it, because I've actually seen the light cone from the morning star, the planet Venus, which, in case anyone who's watching this thinking, what's he talking about? The morning star, oh look, I've got a torch. Look, this is the morning star, right? So when you look at the moon on a clear night, you'll see this. Look, I'll show you. It's probably a good idea to show you now. Yeah, right. You'll see it here, shining at the moon. When you see the moon, so what it is it's just clipping. Can you see that? It just clips the edge. It's not. Maybe it's better on a ball. This is a flask lid, but it just clips the edge. Sometimes it's here, but it's never here. Yeah, but you'll see it down here, over here. And it's embarrassing. I've seen it. I've seen the actual light cone, and sometimes it's not far. On the right night, you can see faint ray of coming out of planet Venus, the morning star. You can see a faint ray pointing at the moon, and that's why moonlight is colder than moon shadow. Sorry, is colder than moon shadow. No, have I got that around the right way? Moonlight should be warmer. Yeah, it's colder than moon shadow. Things that can't happen. That's why, because it's not what you think. It's not the sun causing the light on the moon, and the whole phases of the moon are controlled by the planet Venus, and the eclipses. That's just embarrassing, like Christian says. They just slide a bit of card over a fucking wrong end of a telescope. That's all that is. It just makes it look like. I mean, I think the last one. I don't know if they've done that on purpose, but it looked a bit fake. Or whether it's just because I now know it's fake that I then assumed that it looked fake. Maybe that happened, but it did look fake, and I've never really noticed before, to be honest. I just thought it was real, so maybe I didn't study it before. But the last one that they had the other week, or the other month, that looked well fake to me. So it's fucking crazy, isn't it? Hey? So I saw on that Restored Republic. Was it? I think it was Restored Republic. Someone, on the rare times that I click on something, someone sent me something from that, and they were talking about, obviously, QFS, Tier 1, 2, 3, and jobs. Apparently they've got jobs going in fifth density now for people. So don't worry, you've got a job to go to. Loads of jobs. Oh, there's work for everywhere. There's work for everyone. Fucking hell, can you see how deep this is fucked up? How do you expect anyone to ascend when you've got these parameters? No wonder. You know, I mean, you think doing the decathlon might be a bit difficult. This is ridiculous. This is like the mental decathlon times 1,000. It's ridiculous. It's like expecting for someone to do 3 back-to-back marathons if he was an athlete, whilst juggling on a unicycle, backwards, yeah, with heels. It's just a tall order. How are people going to wrap their head around this? They're going to be a state of shock, dismay, grief, sadness, guilt, anger, hate, fucking terrified. They're going to be fucking terrified in a few months. And you look out the window and the birds are singing and some of the butterflies. Yeah, it's just fucking mad, you know. You go into the shop and it's just, wow. Nobody knows. It's like, wow. Nobody knows. It's fucking mad. It's just mad. How can people not know this? Really, how the apathy is shocking. It's a monumental amount of apathy, but the information is so encompassing. It answers every fucking question, and you can answer it yourself. Honestly, it's like wearing They Live glasses now. After Christian's handed that info out, anyone else has read it. Like I know Jason Cant and Paul Spence. There's loads of people out there, loads of people. But I think people that haven't heard of Christian, I don't see how they're going home, or how that I don't. You know, obviously they're going to be fine. There's nothing to worry about. No one dies. No one gets hurt unless they hurt themselves, or whatever. It ain't like that. It's not spiritually. It's not. It's spiritually driven, but it's an artificial process. Ascension isn't. Oh, it's none of that shit. It's a technology, Ascension. It's nothing to do with angels rocking up and harps. It's got nothing to do with that. But to get there, you need a mindset. Really easy to understand. Just do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Like that sort of shit. pick snails up, be nice to people, help people, put yourself out for people, even if it's at your own detriment. I'm lucky. I've been doing that all my life. I'm fucking lucky. I don't know if it's luck or what. Well, apparently no, nothing's luck. But anyway, maybe that was I don't know. But I'm lucky then, I guess. I just see it as lucky because it's like, fuck me, I'm so lucky I didn't think like that. I've thought that loads lately. I'm really lucky and pleased that I think how I think. Because it's beneficial. It's anyway, don't matter. But yeah, jobs back home. Can you believe that? They're talking about I don't know if they're taking names for fucking what, you're going to have 3D construction or 5D construction workers. You muck and that turns up and fucking floats around on the scaffolding. Now the scaffolding's not there. It's all levitation scaffolding. Nothing like that. People ain't got a clue what's coming. I would urge everyone to look into it. Rapid. Because it's fucking amazing. The peace of mind is amazing. And also it's so interesting knowing things about like the Voynich manuscript. I've wanted to know what that was since I was 12. Fucking blew me away when Christian just went out and answered the whole fucking lot. Didn't even know what it was 2 seconds ago. He's like, the what? No, he'd done that video, didn't he? Had it on the video. And I was watching that from my house before I met him. And Ronnie was saying he couldn't pronounce it or said it or he didn't know what it was. And I'm like, fucking, I was saying the Voynich manuscript. Anyway, when I met him and asked that, I was like, what the fuck? And the whole thing, man, the whole thing about the fourth density, the labyrinths, and all that, the whole thing. And the plant life, of course it would make sense that you need, if you've just created the first third density arena ever created, a simulation, sorry, you're going to need things that are going to grow in it. We can't grow fifth density plants in a third density matrix, it ain't going to happen. They'll just wither and die, or they won't do very well. But the closest thing to make something from is fourth density, and the closest fourth density realm is under your feet in inner earth. So that's what that was. They probably had loads of them. It was probably not just that one. They probably just kept one in plain sight. There you go. They're showing you. It doesn't matter that you can't read it, and no one ever will, because it's written in some fucking ancient language that was only designed to ever be used in that purpose. Just give it to some reset humans. Don't forget, they had fucking, like, Neanderthal man had a bigger brain capacity than we have. So Neanderthal man, they could have got fucking Neanderthal man to do it, for all you know. Could have sent him down to inner earth. Yeah, if he's more intelligent, why not? If he ain't got nothing to do, look, you're between caves. Chip down there, mate, there's a pen. Get cracking. You wouldn't know. But they definitely were more intelligent because they had a larger brain capacity. And if evolution via natural selection is right, that can't happen. It's impossible that they have got a bigger brain capacity, because that would just be, well, we didn't get good and then get shit. You know, they've been talking about the missing link for years, and I've met anthropologists. I've actually had dinner with one who was adamant there's no need for a missing link. And I'm like, I can't even argue with him because I ain't got no fucking PhDs. He had more PhDs. He had more fucking degrees in a box full of compasses, this geezer, and therefore he was right. He won the argument based on the amount of compasses that he's got. Do you know what I mean? Basically, more degrees in a fucking map. So you can't argue with people like that because they're so conceited in their understanding, because you can't question their authority on it, because that means you're bringing into question everyone that taught them, who may have been a great from scientific past, or you might have been like a well-respected. You can't argue with the giants that stood on the giants that stood below the giants of the other giants. You know what I mean? When they say standing on the shoulders of giants, I'm talking about the giants at the bottom. You know, the greats that worked it all out. But if you look, they're 33rd degree Freemasons, and if you look, the whole thing is run by 33rd degree Freemasons. The whole thing. And the hosted bloodline families are the ET presence incarnate, as it were, here among us, enjoying themselves big time. Paradise for them. Absolute paradise. Disgusting, really. But yeah, anyway, listen, love you all, yeah? Take care. Much love.